January 10, 1942. Navy Department, Washington. Captain Francis Lowe enters Admiral Ernest King's office 63 days after Pearl Harbor. America needs victory, needs retaliation, needs something, anything. Lowe has idea. Saw Army bombers at Norfolk practicing carrier landings. Painted outlines on runway. Thought occurred. Could medium bomber launch from carrier? Attack Japan? Impossible. Unprecedented. Never attempted. Exactly right. Lowe explains. King listens. 3 minutes later, orders planning begin. Nobody knows if possible. Testing required. Modifications required. Training required. Volunteers required. Everything unprecedented. Everything uncertain. Everything necessary. Psychological warfare matters. Morale matters. Revenge matters. This mission is all three. February 3, 1942. USS Hornet offshore Virginia. 2 North American B-25 Mitchell bombers sit on deck. Never been done. Medium bombers never launched from carriers. Too heavy. Too wide. Too impossible. Lieutenant John Fitzgerald climbs cockpit first bomber. Checks instruments. Airspeed indicator reads 45 miles per hour. Ship steaming into wind. Moving fast enough to generate lift. Fitzgerald advances throttles. Engines roar. Brakes release. Bomber accelerates. 467 feet deck. Bomber needs 450 minimum. Margin, 17 feet. Deck rushes past. Bow rises. Ship pitching. Timing critical. Fitzgerald holds. Releases. Bomber lurches forward. Props clawing air. Tail lifts. Main gear lifts. Airborne. Barely. Props churning spray. Altitude 20 feet. Sufficient. Proof achieved. Concept validated. Mission approved. Now planning begins. Lieutenant Colonel James Harold Doolittle, age 45. Already legend. Test pilot. Air racer. Aviation pioneer. First person fly across United States less than 24 hours. First instrument-only flight. Doctorate MIT Aeronautical Engineering. Retired active duty 1930. Reserve Major 1940. Recalled duty. Assigned special projects. Perfect officer for impossible mission. Understands aviation. Understands engineering. Understands risk. Understands publicity. This mission requires all four. The requirement. Cruise range 2,400 nautical miles. Bomb load 2,000 pounds. Launch from carrier deck. 500 feet maximum. Land somewhere friendly. Return somehow. Doolittle considers Douglas B-23 Dragon. Martin B-26 Marauder. North American B-25 Mitchell. Dragon wingspan 90 feet. Too wide for carrier deck. 75 feet maximum. Eliminated. Marauder questionable takeoff characteristics. Cannot launch carrier deck with bomb load. Eliminated. Mitchell remains. Adequate range barely. Adequate takeoff barely. Adequate everything barely. Perfect. B-25 specifications. Length 52 feet 11 inches. Wingspan 67 feet 7 inches. Height 16 feet 4 inches. Empty weight 19,000 pounds. Maximum gross weight 33,000 pounds. 2 Wright R-2600 Cyclone engines. 1,800 horsepower each. Maximum speed. 272 miles per hour. Cruising speed. 230 miles per hour. Range. 1,300 miles with full bomb load. Insufficient for mission. Modifications required. Extensive modifications. 24 B-25s modified Minneapolis. Mid-Continent Airlines facility. Changes comprehensive. Lower turret removed. Weight savings. Tail guns removed. Replaced broomstick painted black. Morale. Deception. Both. Radio removed. 230 pounds saved. Radio silence required anyway. Equipment unnecessary. Liaison equipment installed instead. Crew intercom. Navigation aids. Minimal electronics. Bomb bay tank installed. Rubber. Bulletproof. 225 gallons capacity. Additional tank crawl space. Additional tanks everywhere possible. 10 5-gallon jerry cans stacked aft. Emptied during flight. Holes punched. Thrown overboard. Cannot leave trail. Cannot reveal route. Total fuel capacity. 1,141 gallons. Normal. 646 gallons. Increase. 77%. Range extension. Approximately 1,000 miles. Total range. 2,400 miles. Barely sufficient. Everything barely. Always barely. Armament reduced. Weight critical. Speed critical. Range critical. Everything sacrificed for fuel. Forward dorsal turret retained. Twin 50 caliber machine guns. Defensive only. No provisions air combat. No provisions fighter escort. Fighters cannot reach Japan. Cannot return from Japan. Bombers alone. Crews alone. Everything alone. Bomb load. 2,000 pounds. 4 500-pound bombs. 3 high-explosive Mark IV demolition bombs. 1 M50 incendiary cluster bomb. 128 M50 incendiary bomblets inside. Targets: industrial, military, psychological, maximum visible damage, maximum propaganda value, maximum shock. This mission about morale, American morale, Japanese morale, both matter. Both targeted, bombs are secondary. Presence is primary. American bombers over Tokyo, impossible thing. Happening anyway. Crew selection, 17th Bombardment Group, Columbia, South Carolina. Most experienced B-25 unit. 4 squadrons, 6 crews each squadron, 24 crews total. Volunteers only. Mission dangerous. Details classified. Many will not return. All step forward. Every single man volunteers. Meeting March 1, Eglin Field, Florida. Lieutenant Colonel Doolittle explains little, says much. Mission extremely dangerous. Volunteers only. Anytime withdraw. No questions. No consequences. Nobody withdraws. Nobody ever withdraws. 80 crew members. All committed. All willing. All understanding death possible. Accepting anyway. Training begins March 3. Eglin Field perfect. Remote location. Ocean nearby. Navigation training possible. White lines painted auxiliary field. Simulating carrier deck. 500 feet. Pilots practice short takeoff. Again, again, again. 50 times. 100 times. Until muscle memory. Until automatic. Until possible becomes reliable. Lieutenant Henry Miller, Navy carrier pilot, supervises. Teaches carrier techniques. Timing. Deck motion. Wind compensation. Everything different from land operations. Everything critical for survival. 3 weeks intensive training. Not enough. Never enough. But sufficient. Barely. Always barely. March 23. Accident. B-25 42 3,045 crashes takeoff. Stalls 15 feet altitude. Falls. Destroys airframe. Crew survives. Aircraft destroyed. 23 bombers remain. Replacement requested. Arrives. Not modified. No time modifications. Spare aircraft. Backup. Insurance. 24 total available. March 27. Bombers fly Sacramento. Then Alameda Naval Air Station. Inspection. Test flights. Some crews fly under San Francisco Bay Bridge. Captain Edward York. Lieutenant Dean Davenport. Both cannot resist. Unauthorized. Dangerous. Memorable. Youth. Confidence. Bravado. All 3. April 1. 16 B-25s crane aboard Hornet. Careful positioning. Launch order. Doolittle first. Last bomber tail over stern. Tight. Precise. No margin. Perfect fit. 134 Army Air Forces personnel embark. Crews. Mechanics. Support. All aboard. All committed. All sailing toward unknown. April 2. Hornet departs Alameda. Destination unknown, even captain. Sealed orders. Opened at sea. Mark Mitcher commanding. Experienced carrier officer. Age 45. Same age Doolittle. Different service. Same professionalism. Same commitment. Same understanding mission importance. Orders reveal target. Tokyo. Army bombers. Navy carrier. Joint operation. Unprecedented cooperation. Perfect execution required. Both services committed. Task Force 16.2 escorts Hornet. Heavy cruisers Salt Lake City. Vincennes. Light cruiser Northampton. Oiler Cimarron. 4 destroyers. Adequate screen. Insufficient against major Japanese force. Stealth required. Speed required. Luck required. All 3 critical. Any absence fatal. April 13. Rendezvous Task Force 16. Enterprise. Admiral William Halsey commanding. Enterprise provides fighter cover. Hornet cannot. Deck full bombers. Own fighters hangared. Cannot launch. Cannot operate. Vulnerable. Enterprise protects both carriers. Combined force. 2 carriers. 4 cruisers. 8 destroyers. 1 oiler. Respectable. Insufficient against combined fleet. Must avoid detection. Must reach launch point. Must succeed. Failure unacceptable. Consequences catastrophic. Both militarily, psychologically. Everything depends success. Mission plan. Launch 400 miles from Japan. Sufficient fuel reach targets. Sufficient fuel reach China. Airfields prepared. Refueling arranged. Recovery possible. Plan solid. Plan reasonable. Plan doomed. Because Japanese have picket boats, converted fishing trawlers, radio equipped, stationed intervals offshore. Early warning network. Primitive. Effective. Dangerous. April 18, 0738 hours. Radar contact. Enterprise radar detects surface vessel. Range 21,000 yards. Too close. Compromised. Picket boat sites task force. Radios warning. Cruiser Nashville sinks picket boat. 6-inch gunfire. Vessel destroyed, but damage done. Message transmitted. Japanese know American force approaching. Position approximate. Composition unknown, but warning sent. Response follows. Aircraft, submarines, surface forces, all searching, all hunting, all deadly. Halsey makes decision. Launch now. Immediately. Current position, 650 nautical miles from Tokyo. Original plan, 400 miles. Difference, 250 miles. Fuel margins eliminated. Arrival China questionable, but waiting risks carriers. Risks task force. Risks everything. Launch now. Accept consequences. Hope works. Prayer included. 0800 hours. Doolittle briefs crews. Explains situation. Offers abort. Nobody accepts. All committed. All understand. All proceed. Final preparations. Bombs loaded. Fuses armed. Targets confirmed. Tokyo. Yokohama. Nagoya. Kobe. Yokosuka. Industrial centers. Military targets. Symbolic strikes. Psychological warfare. Maximum visible impact. Minimum actual damage. Paradox intentional. Mission about being there, not destroying there. Presence matters most. 0820 hours. First aircraft launches. Doolittle. Aircraft number 1. Bomber 40-2344. Crew 5. Doolittle pilot. Lieutenant Richard Cole co-pilot. Lieutenant Henry Potter navigator. Staff Sergeant Fred Bramer bombardier. Staff Sergeant Paul Leonard flight engineer gunner. All experienced. All professional. All understanding risk. All accepting anyway. Deck pitches violently. 30-foot swells. Wind 40 knots. Rain squalls. Spray everywhere. Worst conditions possible. Launch anyway. Must launch. Cannot delay. Doolittle starts engines. Checks instruments. Full power. Deck officer signals. Flag drops. Brakes release. Bomber accelerates. Heavily. Slowly. Reluctantly. 50 feet. 100 feet. 200 feet. 300 feet. 400 feet. Bow rising. Deck angle changing. Doolittle holds stick neutral. Trusts speed. Trusts lift. Trusts physics. 450 feet. Bomber lifts. Airborne. Barely. Always barely. Props churning spray. Climbing slowly. Banks. Circles carrier once. Sets course west. Disappears into overcast. Gone. Committed. Irreversible. 15 more bombers follow. 1 per minute approximately. Launch sequence flawless. Deck crews perfect. Pilots perfect. Conditions terrible. Results excellent. Last bomber Lieutenant William Farrow. Aircraft 40-2297. Launches 0920. All 16 airborne. All headed west. All committed. All alone. Mission launched. Now survive. Now succeed. Now hope. Flight to Japan. 3.5 hours approximately. Low altitude. Wave top level. 50 feet. 100 feet. Avoid detection. Avoid radar. Avoid patrol aircraft. Navigation challenging. No landmarks. No radio. No help. Just compass. Just clock. Just skill. Crews trained well. Navigate well. Find targets. All 16 bombers reach Japan. All survive flight. All attack assigned targets. 1,200 hours approximately. First bombers arrive Tokyo. Air raid sirens sound. Citizens panic. Military scrambles. Fighters launch. Too late. Bombers already overhead. Already attacking. Bombs fall. Military targets. Industrial targets. Some civilian casualties. Unavoidable. Unintentional. Regrettable. War is imprecise. Death comes regardless. Bombers continue. Withdraw low. Fast. West. Toward China. Toward safety. Toward survival. Maybe. Results physical. Minimal. 50 dead. 400 wounded. Some buildings destroyed. Some fires started. Strategic impact. negligible. Tactical impact, 0. Industrial capacity, unchanged. Military capacity, unchanged. Physical damage, irrelevant. Mission succeeds anyway, because mission is psychological. Japanese shocked. American bombers over Tokyo, impossible. Happened anyway. Invulnerability shattered. Home islands vulnerable. Citizens endangered. Military embarrassed. Emperor potentially threatened. Unthinkable. Unacceptable. Response required. Resources recalled. Fighters redeployed. Naval forces repositioned. Strategic plans changed. Midway operation accelerated. All reactions to Doolittle Raid, all strategic consequences. All favorable Americans. Physical damage minimal. Strategic impact enormous. Mission succeeds completely. But crews face consequences. All 16 bombers continue west. Fuel exhausting. Weather deteriorating. Darkness falling. Chinese airfields impossible locate. Radio silence maintained. Navigation dead reckoning. Everything uncertain. Everything desperate. Everything dependent luck. Some have luck. Most do not. 15 bombers reach China. Various conditions. Aircraft 13 ditches offshore. Crew 5 survives. 2 drown. Sergeant Donald Fitzmaurice. Sergeant William Dieter. Both crew 6. Aircraft crashes water. Hard landing. Both injured. Both drowned before rescue. Tragic. Preventable. Unavoidable. War kills randomly. Indiscriminately. Finally. Remaining crews bail out. Crash land. Ditch. 13 hours flight. Fuel exhausted. Options exhausted. Luck exhausted. Crews jump. Parachutes deploy. Most survive. Corporal Leland Factor Crew 3. Parachute fails. 20 years old. Flight engineer. Gunner. Dead. Impact. Only casualty bailout. 3 dead total. 77 survive. Chinese territory? Mostly. 2 crews captured. Crew 6. Crew 16. 8 men total. Japanese capture. Imprisonment. Torture. Trial. Execution. All await. Aircraft 8 different story. Captain Edward York commanding. Engine problems. Fuel consumption excessive. Cannot reach China. Divert Soviet Union. Lands Vladivostok area. Crew intact. Aircraft intact. Soviets surprised. Confused. Technically neutral with Japan. Cannot return crew. International law requires internment. Crew interned. 1 year. Comfortable internment. Eventually released. Transferred Iran. Return American control. 1943. All survive. Lucky. Different lucky. But lucky. Chinese civilians rescue American crews. Risk enormous. Japanese retaliation certain. Chinese help anyway. Humanity. Decency. Courage. All 3. Americans grateful. Give everything they have. Cigarettes. Parachutes. Equipment. Tokens. Appreciation. These tokens doom villages. Japanese discover American equipment. Assume collaboration. Punish accordingly. Brutally. Systematically. Completely. Zhejiang Jiangxi Campaign. Japanese retaliation. Begins May 1942. Continues August. 3-month systematic destruction. Target. Chinese who helped Americans. Method. Total warfare. Biological warfare. Chemical warfare. Conventional warfare. All employed. Results. Catastrophic. Estimated 250,000 Chinese civilians dead. 70,000 Chinese soldiers dead. Total. 320,000 dead. Retaliation for helping 80 Americans. For saving 77 lives. For showing humanity. Price. 320,000 dead. Ratio. 4,000 Chinese deaths per American saved. Math is brutal. Reality worse. This is war. This is consequence. This is price of humanity. American prisoners suffer differently. 8 men captured. Crews 6 and 16. Lieutenant Dean Hallmark. Lieutenant William Farrow. Lieutenant Robert Mader. Lieutenant George Barr. Corporal Harold Spatz. Corporal Jacob DeShazer. Sergeant Chase Nielsen. Sergeant Robert Height. All imprisoned Shanghai. All tortured. Solitary confinement. Starvation. Beatings. Psychological torture. Months. Year. Everything. Japanese conduct show trial. August 1942. Charges. Attacking civilians. Bombing non-military targets. War crimes. Evidence. Fabricated. Testimony. Coerced. Verdict. Predetermined. Death sentences. All 8. Then commutation. 5 sentences commuted. 3 remain. Hallmark. Farrow. Spatz. Why these three? Unclear. Random, arbitrary, deadly. October 15, 1942. 0430 hours. 3 Americans loaded truck. Shanghai prison. Public cemetery number 1. Execution ground. Proper ceremonial procedures followed. Japanese military tradition. Respect for condemned. Ironic respect. Shallow respect. Fatal respect. 3 men shot. Firing squad. Dead. Buried. Gone. Heroes. Martyrs. Victims. All 3. 24 years old. 26 years old. 22 years old. Dead. For bombing Tokyo. For following orders. For serving country. This is war. This is sacrifice. This is cost. Remaining prisoners suffer longer. Mater dies December 1943. Starvation. Dysentery. Medical neglect. Murder by deprivation. 30 years old. Dead. 4 survive. Bar. DeShazer. Nielsen. Hite. Liberation. August 1945. Japan surrenders. Prisoners freed. 40 months captivity. Most solitary. Most torture. All survived. Physically damaged. Psychologically scarred. Alive? That matters. Everything else secondary. Doolittle expects court-martial. Lost all aircraft. Lost men. Accomplished minimal damage. Thinks mission failed. Thinks career finished. Thinks Leavenworth awaits. Wrong. Completely wrong. Mission declared success. Massive success. Strategic success. Psychological success. Perfect success. Doolittle receives Medal of Honor. President Roosevelt personally awards promotion Brigadier General. Skips Colonel entirely. Command assignments follow. North Africa. Europe. Pacific. War Service Distinguished. Post-War Service Distinguished. Retirement Lieutenant General. Death 1993. Age 96. Buried Arlington. Honored. Celebrated. Remembered. Deserved. All deserved. Co-pilot Lieutenant Richard Cole survives longer. Last Doolittle Raider. Dies April 2019. Age 103. 77 years after raid. Lifetime of memory. Lifetime of honor. Lifetime of being special. Raider. Hero. Survivor. Last link. Gone. End of era. End of generation. End of direct memory. Now only history remains. Only records remain. Only remembering remains. The raid itself. 16 bombers. 80 crew. 13 hours flight. 30 seconds over Tokyo. 4 years consequence. Strategic. Tactical. Psychological. Political. Everything changed. Japanese strategy changed. Midway operation accelerated. 4 carriers committed. 4 carriers lost. Battle of Midway. Turning point. Pacific War. Causation direct. Doolittle Raid threatened homeland. Japanese respond. Seek decisive battle. Eliminate American carriers. Prevent future raids. Plan fails. Carriers lost. Initiative lost. War lost. Eventually. Inevitably. Completely. Chain begins Doolittle Raid. Ends Tokyo Bay. September 1945. Surrender. Everything connects. Everything matters. 80 men. 16 bombers. 30 seconds. Changed everything. American morale impact. Immediate. Enormous. Sustained. Pearl Harbor. December 7, 1941. National trauma. Shock. Fear. Defeat. 4 months later. Doolittle Raid. Hope. Revenge. Victory. Psychological. Moral. Real. Americans needed this. Needed proof. Proof we could strike back. Proof Japan vulnerable. Proof we were fighting. Not accepting defeat. Fighting. Winning. Eventually, the raid provided proof. Provided hope. Provided will to continue. Intangible. Unmeasurable. Critical. Wars are won materially. Also psychologically. Morale matters. Will matters. Belief matters. Doolittle Raid provided all 3. Worth cost. Worth risk. Worth everything. Japanese morale impact. Opposite. Equal. Devastating. Japanese believed homeland invulnerable. Geography protected. Navy protected. Distance protected. Everything protected. Then American bombers appeared. Over Tokyo. Over sacred capital. Over Emperor's palace. Impossible. But real. Invulnerability shattered. Protection failed. Distance insufficient. Navy insufficient. Everything insufficient. Fear entered. Doubt entered. Questioning entered. Military leadership embarrassed. Civilians frightened. Emperor potentially endangered. All unacceptable. All requiring response. Response came. Zhejiang Jiangxi Campaign. 320,000 Chinese dead. Revenge. Retaliation. Overreaction. Brutality. All demonstrated Japanese fear. Demonstrated raid succeeded. Psychological wounds deepest. Lasting longest. Healing never. President Roosevelt asked where bombers launched. Smiled. Said Shangri-La. Fictional paradise. Lost horizon. Hidden Himalayan valley. Perfect answer. Perfect misdirection. Perfect security. Name stuck. Shangri-La Carrier. Hornet became legend. Mythical. Mysterious. Powerful. Perfect propaganda. Perfect morale. Perfect everything. Until November 1942. Battle Santa Cruz. Hornet sunk. Japanese torpedoes. Long lance. Reliable weapons. Effective weapons. Deadly weapons. Shangri-La sank. Paradise lost. Myth ended. Reality remained. Ship gone. Memory remained. Mission remained. Legend remained. Everything that mattered remained. The analysis afterward. Mission succeeded beyond expectations. Cost? 3 killed action. 8 captured. 3 executed. 1 died captivity. 4 survived captivity. All 16 aircraft lost. 100% loss rate. Normally unacceptable. Actually perfect. One-way mission acknowledged. Expected. Planned. Aircraft expendable. Crews hopefully not. Most survived. Acceptable. Results. Minimal physical damage. Maximum psychological damage. Strategic consequences enormous. Midway operation. Japanese defeat. Turning point. War shortened. Lives saved. Worth cost. Definitely worth cost. Technical achievement. Unprecedented. Medium bombers launched carriers. Never attempted previously. Never repeated subsequently. Unique operation. Unique circumstances. Unique necessity. Unique success. Proved concept. Demonstrated possibility. Changed thinking. But not repeated. Not necessary. Carriers designed carrier aircraft. Bombers designed land bases. Mixing them. Emergency measure. Desperate measure. Successful measure. Once. Only once. Sufficient. Training achievement. Remarkable. 3 weeks Eglin Field. Short takeoff technique. Navigation technique. Low altitude bombing. Everything compressed. Everything intensive. Everything effective. Crews performed perfectly. 0 losses during raid. 3 losses during recovery. All from circumstances. Fuel exhaustion. Weather. Darkness. Not training failure. Not skill failure. Not preparation failure. Just war. Just luck. Just fate. Training succeeded. Mission succeeded. Men succeeded. Everything succeeded. Except for those who died. For them nothing succeeded. Just death. Just sacrifice. Just memory. The legacy persists. Doolittle Raiders. Annual reunions. Silver goblets. Each raider named goblet. Reunions toast. Fallen comrades remembered. Living comrades celebrated. Bonds maintained. Memories shared. Each year fewer. Each year older. Each year more precious. Last reunion. 2013. 4 raiders attend. Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole. Lieutenant Colonel Edward Saylor. Staff Sergeant David Thatcher. Master Sergeant Hayden Vick. 4 from 80. 5%. Remnant. Final witnesses. Last memories. All precious. All honored. All remembered. 2019. Cole dies. Last raider. Last witness. Last direct connection. Era ends. Generation ends. Living memory ends. Only history remains. Books. Documents. Films. Museums. Artifacts. All preserve memory. All honor sacrifice. All teach lessons. But living connection gone. Direct testimony gone. Personal experience gone. Now only scholars, only students, only remembering. Second hand, third hand, distant. But important. Must continue. Must preserve. Must honor. Always. National Museum, United States Air Force. Dayton, Ohio. B-25 displayed, marked as Doolittle aircraft. 40-2344. Not actual aircraft. Symbolic aircraft. Representative aircraft. Perfect aircraft. Rests reproduction Hornet flight deck. Mannequins surrounding. Doolittle. Mitcher. Deck crew. Loading bombs. Loading ammunition. Frozen moment. Preserved moment. April 18, 1942. 0800 hours. Everything beginning. Everything possible. Everything uncertain. Moment captured. Moment honored. Moment remembered. Forever. The raid represents American character. Faced disaster. Faced defeat. responded aggressively, responded creatively, responded courageously. Impossible mission. Attempted anyway. Succeeded anyway. Not perfectly. Not completely. Sufficiently. Made difference. Changed war. Changed psychology. Changed everything. That is American warfare. That is American spirit. That is American way. When knocked down, stand up, hit back, win eventually. Doolittle Raid exemplified this. Perfectly. Completely. Finally. 80 men, 16 bombers, 13 hours flight, 30 seconds over Tokyo, launched from nowhere, attacked everywhere, disappeared completely, reappeared alive. Mostly, changed everything. Completely. Absolutely. Finally. This is Doolittle Raid. This is April 18, 1942. This is moment when America stopped retreating, started attacking, started winning. Eventually, everything traces here. Everything begins here. 30 seconds over Tokyo. Changed Pacific War. Changed World War II. Changed history. 80 men did that. Remember them. Honor them. Always